Habari Gani, my brothers and my sisters in Africa and throughout the diaspora. My slave name is John D. Brinson. By that I mean the master who owned my great-great-grandmother and father. His last name was Brinson, so as a slave we took on his name. My liberated name that was given to me by the ancestors is Abu Amen Ra. My brothers and sisters, let me provide you with a wee bit of information on me so that you can get a better understanding of how I arrived at where I am today. I was born in a town called Montgomery, Alabama. Attended schools there. A pivotal point in my life occurred when I was 16 years old. I earned some spending money by caddying at a place called Maxwell Air Force Base. I can recall one afternoon as I had finished caddying and was on my way back home, I crossed some railroad tracks at the shop called the Atlantic Coastline. And as I crossed these tracks, two white gentlemen, I'm being nice now by calling them gentlemen, were standing on the other side awaiting me to arrive there. One had on a hat, cocked ace deuce on his side like Dick Tracy. The other one had coveralls on and he wore an engineer's cap, so I will assume he drove the trains. And as I made my way across the tracks, they awaited me and said, "Come here, boy." That's the way we were addressed in those days. So I approached them hesitantly and they asked me, "What you doing crossing these railroad tracks, boy?" So I answered as politely as I can in my Negro voice. "Oh, I'm crossing, sir, trying to get back home early before dark." Then one of them said, "We don't mind you crossing the tracks, this is the engineer, but we are concerned about your safety. A train might hit you." So I looked at them hesitantly, because I knew the game. And then the engineer said, "Turn around and ask Mr. I've forgotten his name now. Don't we care about your safety?" And so when he said this, they maneuvered me between them. One was on my left now and one was on my right. He said, "Turn around and ask him." So as I turned in an attempt to ask him, I could sense or feel the policeman, the detective, the undercover detective, pulling his blackjack out of his pocket. And I turned around swiftly as he was swinging the blackjack, and I threw my arms up and it broke his wrist. Not actually broke it, but caused it to bend and the blackjack to fall from his hands. Now what did I want to do that for? He pulled out his pistol then, hit me upside the head, and blood started to flow, and he said, "Run, nigga, run." So I began to run from them. A shot was fired at me. Now, I don't know whether they were trying to hit me or not, but they shot at me. I kept running and ran through some bushes and found a muddy hole, put some mud on the gushing blood that was flowing from my head, and temporarily closed the wound. After I recovered somewhat, I proceeded home, but one thing I refused to do, I didn't want my father to know, because he was very protective, and I know he would have gone down with his shotgun looking for the man, and they would have wasted him. So I kept it from my father. And then I told my mother, "I'm joining the Air Force." She said, "You're too young, you gotta be 17. And when you turn 17, your mother has to sign for you, and I'm not gonna sign for you to go into no white man's army." So I told her, if you don't sign, I'm going to get somebody to pretend they're you and sign for you. So she said, well, I'll think about it. But my intent in going into the Air Force was to go there long enough to get basic training, get a gun, and come back and kill that cracker who had hit me upside the head. I had sworn I was going to get this white man. So after I got into the Air Force for a while, in about a year's time, going through Lowry Air Force Base at Denver, Colorado, and Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas, I returned back home with a gun. I was determined to kill this cracker who had insulted me and taken away my dignity for no reason whatsoever. So I asked my father, without raising suspicion in his mind, what had happened to, I've forgotten the man's name now, who used to be a detective on the line there. He said, oh, that man died. I felt betrayed by the universe for not allowing me to get vengeance and expecting my vengeance on this man. But on the other hand, I was lucky and blessed that he had died, because I was going to kill him. And if they found out I killed him, they were going to hang me from the nearest tree. So then, my brothers and sisters, after a while in Montgomery, Alabama, in the Air Force and this whole bit, I got married and I left Montgomery and went to Evanston, Illinois, outside of Chicago, Illinois. And while there, I attended a junior college called Crane Junior College on the west side of Chicago. This was during the early 60s. And there I met and befriended a man who was a Black Panther by the name of Fred Hampton. We were classmates. So I was very intimate with the Panthers at this time. I was looking for a way to bring this crap down brick by brick or all at once if I had to. But I can recall something happened. We got a call early in the morning saying the headquarters on the west side there had been raided by Hanrahan and his police departments, and they had killed Fred Hampton while he was asleep. So we all went out to the apartment there and looked at the ghastly, grisly scene of the dirty work of this white racist, and I was more determined than ever to bring this system down. So after my venture with the Panthers there, I joined they were called Black Muslims at that time, the Nation of Islam under Elijah Muhammad. Mr. Elijah Muhammad himself sent me a letter of acceptance into the Muslim program. There's a copy of it right there. There's his signature there on the bottom. After staying in Chicago there, we moved to California, and my membership in the Black Muslims, as they were known then, was transferred to the Oakland Mosque, headed by Minister Billy X. My name was given to me at that time. My name was John 4X. My brothers and sisters, I toyed around with the Panthers, with the Muslims for a while, until I got the feeling my primary role would be to sell newspapers. Selling newspapers wasn't in my game. So I left the Black Muslims, our Nation of Islam, under Elijah Muhammad, and toyed around with various revolutionary organizations. My brothers and sisters, I have been an enemy of those who were oppressors of our people since I was 17, 16 years old. And now I am an elder. And nothing has changed in the social system. Nothing has changed in the way white people view us. It's still the same game. They just modified it, tried to get it so you couldn't recognize it. It's been camouflaged, but the same system is still here, and I'm still struggling against that system. So my brothers and sisters, I just want to try to encourage you. Don't let them hold you back. Do anything you want to do, but by all means, always stand up for yourself and your people. Do not allow anybody from the outside of your people denigrate your people or denigrate you, but you stand up against them. Be like Muhammad Ali was. When they threw him a curveball, he flipped the script and threw it back on and devastated them. So my brothers and sisters, you must always be soldiers in the army of revolution, to try to destroy this country, to build a new system that is compatible with the liberation of your people, the African people. I want you to remember there's only one African people. We're just located in different places. We are all Africans. There's no such thing as an African American. There's no such thing as a Negro. There's no such thing as a colored guy. There's no such thing as a soul brother. We are all African people. So I want to encourage you now, in my state of awareness, to fight this demon on the global level, because he's attacking us and oppressing us on a global level. So I'm trying to impress upon you, to convince you to join the Pan-African movement. The Pan-African movement is the panacea for our liberation. Don't come into the Pan-African movement with communism, socialism, as it was developed in Europe, because anything developed in Europe develops out of the European global experience, their philosophies, and their behaviors. We must utilize a system of ethics and ideology that grows out of African experiences, African philosophies, and African beliefs. My brothers and sisters, let me wake you aware of this one point here. Everything the European has, he confiscated from us, put a twist on it, and put his name on it. It makes no difference what it is. Even his communism, even his socialism, they are all copies of African beliefs and operatives, and he's done a flip on them, put his name on them, and he calls them his own. We don't need imitations. We are the real thing. Let us come together, my brothers and sisters, under the banner of Pan-Africanism, and drive these enemies of Africa who reside in Africa into the sea. Drive the others into the desert from which they came. I hope you understand what I'm trying to tell you this morning. I'm trying to encourage you to hold on. Victory is ours if we do. Once again, y'all, my brothers and sisters, peace and hope to